Welcome back, 5:46 on Daybreak, and this morning we're looking back in our news to you, which includes remembering a change of quarterbacks, a comedian who could get no respect, and the start of something big for Buffalo's favorite cuisine.
And Dave McKinley has our weekly walk back through time. Well, those stories and more were all news to you.
10 years ago this week, as the Hamster Group was putting the finishing touches on its $41 million conversion of the former National Fuel Gas headquarters downtown into the Hilton Garden Inn and Apartments, and the final coats of paint were being slapped on the Labatt six-pack silos at Riverworks, the FCC voted to eliminate the once notorious blackout rule that let NFL teams ban broadcasts of home games within a certain radius unless they sold out 3 days in advance. It was also the same week the Bills eliminated E.J. Manuel as their starting quarterback, replacing him with Kyle Orton this week in 2014. 20 years ago this week, when one could actually expect the current president to get out and tour hurricane-ravaged areas of the South, and when a future president would have been welcomed on the University at Buffalo campus and actually was as a distinguished speaker.
Before a record-breaking crowd of some 5,000.
That same week, a former president turned 80 years old, Jimmy Carter, who is still with us, by the way, and is due to turn 100 tomorrow. One person no longer with us is comedian Rodney Dangerfield, who, believe it or not, has been gone for 20 years now since he died at the age of 82 this week in 2004. 30 years ago this week, one of Buffalo's preeminent banks was about to get a makeover, which brings us to this week's News to You pop quiz. What was depicted in the logo of Marine Midland Bank for all those years before they decided they'd soon be going with something else as a symbol soon after this week in 1994? Meanwhile, there was something attracting even more attention.
This is the morning entertainment replacing Geraldo and Maury.
Following a rumble at Lancaster Speedway between the Outlaws and Hell's Angels, in which a member of each motorcycle club was killed, hundreds lined the streets for their funerals here, and in Rochester, many admitted, just to see all the Harleys.
I just think it's going to be something to see.
It's just interesting to see the different kinds of bikes and stuff.
40 years ago this week, when you still had to make sure there was film and a camera, and when you could buy a kerosene heater for less than $100, Channel 2 reporter Phil Kavitz went to Columbus, Ohio, upon hearing 3 guys from Buffalo set up a joint to serve wings and weck near Ohio State University.
And we figured that if people liked it so well in Buffalo, they would definitely like it elsewhere.
Especially at these prices.
On Tuesday 10-cent wing nights, you can't get into the place with a shoehorn.
But to say they succeeded in their venture would be an understatement, because what they started as Buffalo Wild Wings and Weck eventually became Buffalo Wild Wings, with 1,300 restaurants in all 50 states and 8 countries. And like the late, great Paul Harvey used to say, now you know the rest of the story, from its humble beginnings, back in the days when it was all news to you.
All right, so here's
cool.
Yeah, and here's the answer to this week's News to You pop quiz. The logo used by Marine Midland Bank, which a lot of you may recall, looks perhaps never looked at closely. It depicts a ship, because Marine Midland, all the shipping that came to town, the Buffalo-born bank, began using the symbol in the 1960s. But 30 years ago this week, it announced it would be scuttling the ship. A few years later, Marine Midland ceased to exist after it was bought out by HSBC and the familiar bow tie logo.
You know, it's kind of weird, like the Ravens play M&T Bank Stadium. M&T Bank is local. It's a Buffalo. I mean, it was started in Buffalo in the 1900s, and it's still.
M&T Bank was?
M&T Bank was founded in Buffalo in the 1800s.
Right.
It's 150-something years old, and it's still headquartered here.
Yeah, and if you look up the history of all those Delaware mansions, it's all bank money. It's all bank executives.
Hell yeah. So what's up, M&T? We know you love Buffalo, but yeah, you began the Baltimore Stadium. Oh well. Yeah, I'm just angry. I'm a little bitter. I'm a little bitter now, but it's a wonderful company, and we're glad they're here.
All right.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I want to talk about
the Sabre Star.